All right, well, hi, we'd like to welcome you to our session, Building Shared Belief to Empower AAC Users, an open access project. This project is supported through a grant with the California Department of Education and the California Center for Educational Excellence. This project is designed across three different areas: universal design for learning, assistive technology, and augmentative alternative communication, which is our focus here today. Cassandra and I are both open access leads for our regions in the area of AAC, and we are glad you have joined us today. So I'm Jennifer Wright, and I am a SELPA program specialist for the Open Access Project, as well as one of the lead AAC specialists. I have over 20 years of experience, with 15 of those as an SLP focused on AAC. I have developed and presented at a variety of AAC workshops, including Building Tiered Supports, which is the AAC project in the Open Access Grant. I am one of the coaching and mentoring leads in 4 of the 7 regions throughout California that are participating in the Open Access Building Tier Supports for AAC project, in which we're developing the SLPs to be able to build capacity for AAC in their SELPA regions. In my spare time, I am the club director for the Auburn Aces Volleyball Club, and I'm also figuring out how to adjust to an empty nest with my husband, as both of our girls left for the East Coast for college this year. One of them is at Gallaudet in Washington, D.C., and the other is at Boston College.
And hello, I'm Cassandra Guerrero. I'm a speech and language pathologist and program specialist at San Benito High School District. I've always been passionate about AAC and have been thrilled with the opportunity our SELPA has to partner with Placer County on the Open Access AAC project. And we've been doing that for the last several years. I'm a lead SLP for San Benito County SELPA on this project. And I'm also passionate about inclusion and have also been running a Circle of Friends program in our district for the past 12 years. Communication is such an important way to empower students and give them access to inclusive opportunities. And I'm excited to be partnering with the Open Access team to make AAC more accessible to students in my area. In my spare time, I teach ballet, and I've been involved in my studio's Nutcracker on and off stage. I played Drosselmeyer for the past several years. And I also stay busy with my 2 daughters who are in kinder and 3rd grade and who also love to dance and perform.
Okay, so this session is designed to build the knowledge and skill that every person who supports a student with complex communication needs should demonstrate in order to foster the student's skill development with augmentative and alternative forms of communication, or AAC. When the whole team has a shared understanding of strategies to facilitate language development and is working together to support and honor multimodal communication with core words and a variety of language functions, this empowers the AAC user to advocate for their needs and preferences and creates more inclusive opportunities for meaningful participation in academic and social settings. So we have pared down a simplified definition of success. What is it that we're striving for in all of our students with complex communication needs? How might we measure success for our students? How do we get there? What kinds of goals should we focus on for our students? We have defined the goal of our AAC intervention as follows. We want our students to be able to demonstrate what they know and understand, build independence and autonomy as they develop skills with their AAC strategies and tools, and build relationships and social connections. Candidates for AAC include anyone who is not able to communicate effectively with speech alone, anyone who is partially able to communicate with speech but may not be understood by others, anyone who has adequate speech but needs supports for writing or carrying on longer conversations. This is a broad group of individuals. What we do know is that 1.3% of the total population, about 4 million people, could benefit from AAC, and this need increases with age. This is old data from 2010, but it's the most current we have. It's estimated that about 3 to 5% of students who are on IEPs fit this profile, which would be about 270 to 440 students in our Placer County, where we have about 9,000 students on IEPs. To get a sense, you can do the math for your county or district. More students with significant disabilities are being educated in their local schools, meaning the services and supports need to be there. We can't rely solely on the specialists assigned to special schools or classrooms, or on the specialists at the county level who aren't part of the regular team that is supporting the student across the school day. AAC service delivery is an ongoing process of assessment and intervention where at any given point, one does not begin and one does not end. This is the reason why we are building a tiered system that includes building the knowledge and skill that every communication partner has to support these students gaining skills across all settings, therefore empowering the entire team to support our students with complex communication needs. Clinical studies clearly support the notion that augmented forms of communication will not interfere with the child's ability to develop speech. This is what the research tells us. The link for the article is on the conference website for our course if you want to print it out and read it later. Why might we see speech skills develop in conjunction with AAC use? Here are some of our thoughts. The pressure to produce intelligible speech may be reduced, knowing that the child has an alternative way to say something. The use of AAC allows the child's language skills to continue to grow and develop. There are often consistent models of speech with AAC use. Using speech is the easiest way to communicate. AAC is never as efficient and effective. If the child is able to use speech, they will. They will always go down the path of least resistance. And the evidence points to introducing AAC before a student experiences communication failure and frustration. This gets back to the idea of don't wait.
So I'm going to introduce our guiding principles. That we're going to walk through these guiding principles that we feel are really important for everyone to know and understand. And we'll be giving you some background information and context on each one. So the first is that communication has no prerequisites. AAC is best incorporated into an individual's already existing multimodal communication system. Students need opportunities to communicate for more than just requesting their wants and needs. Teaming is essential. The success of any communication system is highly dependent upon the skills of communication partners. And finally, technology decisions are guided by needs and not candidacy. So our first guiding principle is that communication has no prerequisites. So we have this handy flow chart for decision making. And the complex answer is, are they breathing? We need to be taking our students from where they are and starting them on this path. So this graphic is a little tongue-in-cheek, but the point is to presume competence. It is important that the whole team is on the same page about this, that all students are candidates for AAC. So our second guiding principle is that AAC is best incorporated into an individual's already existing multimodal communication system. And let's talk a little bit about that. A communication system is made of everything we use to communicate or enhance our communication. Different strategies may be needed for different situations and communication partners. Strategies and tools may be combined to meet a wide variety of communication functions. Let's think about this from a toolbox mentality. Different situations and different people need different tools and strategies at different times. So my mother-in-law does not text, where my kids do not call me on the phone. Maybe they prefer to text. We all combine tools and strategies to meet a wide variety of communication needs, functions, and preferences. When we're talking about an individual who may need an AAC support, it is not just about the high-tech speech-generating device or any other single strategy such as text. It is everything that that individual uses in combination. Remember our outcomes for AAC. We want students to be able to show what they know and understand, build independence and autonomy, and build relationships and social connection. Look at the situation and then consider what strategies or tools could help support the student to communicate most effectively in that context. For example, it might be most effective to program a student's news for home in a single message device so that they can quickly share the highlights of the day with mom after getting off the bus. The same student may use a spelling page on their device and work on a writing assignment. They may use an eye gaze frame with A, B, C, or D in each corner to quickly answer multiple choice questions for their science quiz. And they may use their vocalizations and body language when out at recess playing with their friends. As the student gains more experience using their repertoire of tools and strategies, they should also be learning how to determine which to use in any given situation. So here are a variety of communication behaviors or means that may be combined in a multimodal repertoire. We all use all of these in combination throughout our day. Most of these fall under the category of body language, with the addition of vocalizations and verbalizations. If you think about it, everyone uses multimodal communication through all of these means. The whole team needs to understand multimodal communication so that they can acknowledge and accept all forms of communication. So if the student has a gesture, verbal, or other approximation of no, for example, we don't also require them to say it on the device. This is empowering because the student is being acknowledged and validated. They are indeed communicating using all communication strategies that are meaningful to them. Our next guiding principle is that students need opportunities to communicate for more than just requesting their wants and needs. Demanding is not the only reason to communicate. So as you can see, there are so many reasons to communicate. Students with complex communication needs are no different. We all want to be able to converse, reject, ask a question, express our opinion, just to name a few. These are all important communication functions. We will show you where you can access this graphic later if you're interested in it. The next guiding principle is that teaming is essential. The success of any communication system is highly dependent upon the skills of communication partners. This teaming of professionals within the school and home environment is critical for success. By empowering the team to understand and utilize strategies to support communication development, builds shared belief among team members, and sets our students up for success. So we're going to introduce a few strategies that teams can use to support this development. A strategy is a specific way of supporting the use of AAC tools, symbols, and/or techniques more effectively for enhancing communication or building foundational skills. Strategies can lead to things like more advanced expressive language development or increased proficiency with an access method or more functional outcomes for the use of the tool. A strategy, whether taught to an individual or self-discovered, is anything that can facilitate one's learning and performance. There are many potential strategies, but these are the ones we recommend or use the most. And we'll briefly touch on all of the strategies, but go into more detail on social scripts and aided language modeling.
Choices may be presented via objects, environmental cues with icons and pictures, or verbally. Sometimes when we use verbal choices, we use either a visual or a tactile cue, like touching a finger or both hands touching each shoulder. Students need many opportunities. We have them all day long, and we need to give them to our students as well. They need to have the same opportunities and the same range of choices that their peers have in the same situation or setting. We know that being able to exert control on your environment is a critical skill for building self-esteem and a sense of self. Students with severe communication and/or physical impairments do not automatically have access to choice-making opportunities. They cannot easily go get an item or shout out a request. Therefore, choice-making opportunities need to be structured and intentionally presented in the same context as they would be with typically developing children. Modeling and prompting are two critical strategies to have and use. They are not quite the same, so let's break them apart. Modeling is a strategy we all use throughout our instruction and teaching. When used as a teaching strategy, it is a less intrusive option. Modeling is one of the most effective ways we have for students who are learning to participate and communicate in ways that are different or not typical. Some things we can model: what the activity is and what the steps are to get it done. What you can say to your partner. For example, if you want to turn next with the toy, you could choose the picture for my turn, or you could say finish to ask your friend if she's done. We can model how to navigate on a communication tool. For example, if you want to tell her what you want to drink, pick foods here and then drinks, and now you can see all your drink choices. And then there's aided language modeling, which is a more robust modeling strategy that we use with AAC, and we are going to talk about that a little bit later. Prompting usually follows a hierarchy and is a systematic method of assisting students in the learning and skill acquisition process. Here are some examples of some different prompting hierarchies. We will also show you where you can find these on our website later, so if you'd like to explore them and also possibly use them. The next strategy we're going to discuss is partner-assisted scanning. This is a strategy that allows an individual with physical and/or visual impairments to communicate more actively by participating in conversations using choices presented verbally. This strategy provides our complex communicators with the language they need to interact with their partners. The smart partner has the ability to cue or model for the communicator a range of appropriate choices. Here are a few things to think about. It is predicated on the student having an established way to affirm a response. For example, is that the one you want? You need to start with that before you can begin implementing this strategy. This strategy is often used with individuals with significant motor and communication challenges, but it is really necessary for those with additional visual impairments, where visual symbols may be a challenge to access. Auditory cues will be how those communicators eventually access their systems, so we need to start training them using this no-text strategy. It is often a strategy we use with beginning communicators or children who don't have any effective forms of communication yet, struggling device users, or when communication strategies are not available or effective at the moment. Spelling is another strategy we want to mention. A few things to think about spelling. Some students may give you the first letter or the first few letters of a word and then want you to predict, or they may want to try and spell the whole word. Find out their preference. Most technology-based systems or apps have keyboard layouts. Some of those may include word prediction, automatic spacing and capitalization, or modified keyboards that you can customize for the individual. And spelling can be done either with direct selection by the person touching the keyboard and selecting letter by letter, or by partner-assisted scanning. If the individual doesn't have the motor skills to touch the keys or letters, they still may be able to utilize spelling if you use that strategy. Social scripts are a strategy that supports a student's ability to begin to experience conversations that include starting, maintaining, and ending an interaction, taking multiple turns, using a variety of language functions, and increasing engagement. So who is that for? Students struggling with access, students with limited expressive skills, and students with early cognitive skills. To make a few points, indulge us while we watch this clip from Home Alone.
Who is it?
It's Little Nero, sir. I have your pizza.
Leave it on the doorstep and get the hell out of here.
Okay. Well, what about the money?
What money?
Well, you have to pay for your pizza, sir.
Is that a fact? How much do I owe you?
That'll be $11.80, sir.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Cheapskate.
Hey, I'm gonna give you to the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, no good keister off my property before I pump your guts full of lead. 1, 2.
All right, what did you observe? The interaction was somewhat predictable. You could script it out and have a response ready. And that language of the shakedown worked for keeping the pizza delivery guy from snooping. What he said and how he said made an impact. So what is a script? A script is a set of sequence steps that move a person through a conversation. It can be plugged into a routine, such as greeting someone in the morning, or it could be a more spontaneous interaction, like asking a friend to the movies. It can be co-constructed by the user and the partner together, so we can each have a part. And it can provide exposure to a variety of communicative functions. It can be for more than just requesting. So we will talk about the sequenced steps of a conversation in a minute, but let's talk about what you might do a script for. Some examples might be telling a joke or directing a classroom activity, sharing weekend highlights, or ordering food at a restaurant. It is very important to build in a range of communicative functions. So now let's talk about the steps or a sequence of a script. There are 4 main parts of a conversational script. You need to first get someone's attention if you don't already have it, then have some kind of starter or opener. Then depending on how long you want the conversation to go, you need to have a number of things to say to maintain that conversation or keep it going. You can also use a question as a way to shoot it back to your partner. And finally, you need to know how to gracefully end it. So let's demonstrate with a very basic sample script. Cassandra is going to be my partner. And usually for a student, I would pre-program these messages into a step-by-step switch that allows you to program multiple sequential messages. So I don't have one with me today to do that, but Cassandra and I are going to go back and forth like I did. So, hey, Cassandra.
Hey.
I have something to tell you.
Oh, what do you want to tell me?
I got something new. Can you guess?
I don't know. What did you get?
I'll give you a hint. They flash red and green.
Are they Christmas lights?
They are new shoes.
Wow.
What do you think?
I think they're really cool.
Thanks. See you later.
Bye.
So, what did I say to get her attention? I said, yes, there it is. And I had a couple of messages to start and open the conversation. What were they? There they are. What were my maintainers? And how did I close it? So here's an example of a work participation script where the student has everyone line up for recess. So the attention getter could be, hey, everyone. And the starter could be, it's time for recess. The maintainers could be, if you're wearing red or yellow, line up at the door. If it's your birthday this month, line up at the door. Everyone else, line up at the door. Then a turn transfer could be, if you're ready, shout recess. And the closer could be, all right, let's go. So we will be sharing a tool to help you with script building later when we review the website as well. But social scripts are an excellent, excellent strategy.
So aided language modeling is the next strategy we're going to discuss. And this strategy goes by many different names: aided language stimulation, aided language modeling, augmented input. And it is how we take modeling to the next level for our students learning to use symbols and AAC. How do you successfully learn a foreign language? You're exposed to it and immersed in it. So we can't expect our students to learn to use communication symbols without seeing and hearing those symbols used in meaningful ways. Modeling has a very powerful purpose for our students learning to use AAC. By 18 months of age, a child has received 4,400 hours of spoken language using an 8-hour-a-day formula. If we model on a student's device 10 minutes a day during snack or circle time, it would take 84 years for that student to be exposed to 4,400 hours of spoken language. All members of our team must be on board with modeling in the student's AAC system in order to make sure they're getting enough input. And we don't take 84 years, right? An intervention goal for each member of the team should be to model on the device no less than 20 models per hour. And a variety of means can be used for modeling, including modeling directly on the student's system. So we know how important visuals are for supporting comprehension and for supporting a student's retrieval of messages or words. We will be showing you some examples of core word boards later in the presentation. And with a core word board, we try to give students enough words to scaffold the language that they could use to participate in most activities. The core word boards we will show you have universal words, words that can be used across settings and activities. And sometimes we will pair them with more specific vocabulary, fringe words, or the nouns that go along with playing a certain game or having a snack, for example. And we will share some examples in a bit. Our expectation with aided model language is not that the student will point to the pictures on the board, although that may start to occur once they see you modeling. Your role here is really just modeling. You may start to see things happen, like the student will look at what you've been pointing to, especially if you're having fun with it. And a shared understanding by team members of strategies like aided language modeling is an important part of helping empower the AAC user. So there are several responses you could get from a student when you model. So you could model and the student may recognize your modeling and they may look or reach for the tool. You model and the student may repeat any of or all of something that they hear. And then you model and the student may respond. Any response is an indication that the student is beginning to engage with you and with the AAC system. And again, the expectation at the beginning is not that they are responding right away. Really, you're just modeling and giving them that input. So this is a nice video that gives us a quick overview of aided language modeling, and it shows us how a family has really embraced the strategy and how it's working for their daughter. It's great to share with others on your team or even parents, and you can look for it on YouTube by searching the title Aided Language Stimulation Explained.
Created using Powtoon.
So now we're going to add in core vocabulary to aided language, which is what we've termed our universal support for developing the foundation of language. So let's start with what is core vocabulary and why is it important? So core vocabulary is a small set of words that make up about 80% of what we say day to day. Some of the top words used by most people include I, yes, no, want, go. I won't read all of them, but you can kind of get an idea. These words are highly useful, flexible, and functional. And personalized words for the individual can always be added to complete their personal core. So why is it important? Core vocabulary words can be combined in a variety of ways. For example, once a child learns the word go, they can use it to say go there, go away, don't go. The word go can be used anywhere, including at the store, at school, and at home. Contrast that with words like volcano, truck, or mouse. They can only be used in specific contexts. So it's important, again, to have a team collaborating with communication partners across environments to establish personalized core vocabulary and have a shared understanding of why core vocabulary is important. So here are examples of a 20 and 40 word core board. For motor planning purposes or the ability for a student to remember a word's position on the board, we try to keep the positions of words relatively in the same place when we add vocabulary. So if you can see, the pronouns are all on the left, and when we add words, they stay relatively in the same position. We can also add a strip of fringe vocabulary on the top if we're using our words for a specific activity. So all partners play a huge role in students acquiring the skills needed to understand and use the new symbols that we introduced to them using AAC. Imagine learning a language where no one else ever modeled or spoke in that language. This graphic from Gail Porter is a great teaching tool to share with your team. And if you follow this flow chart, the first line is for our typically developing students. And like many of us here today, we're speaking to you because our expectation of your output is that you would speak back to us if we were in person, right? And that's the happy emoji. The second line is what happens to many of our students. We speak to them verbally, and then we expect them to use some form of aided language to speak back to us. But there's a mismatch here when we're not modeling, and it's a not so happy emoji. The third line is where we see the magic happen. We as communication partners speak verbally and at the same time utilize the aided language that the student is expected to use. And then our student, having seen the model, is more likely to be able to use their aided language system to talk back to us, leading us to a really happy emoji. So this is a video I made with my daughter during quarantine to show families how they could incorporate aided language modeling into everyday conversations. Because again, having lots of input is really important. And the same principles could apply in a classroom, having multiple staff use aided language modeling.
Hello, it is Miss Cassandra and me, Layla, Miss Cassandra's daughter, and today we're going to be modeling aided language with a core board.
Exactly. We're going to be using a core board to do some aided language modeling and show you how you as a parent or a sibling in the house can help model language for your students. You're going to notice that there's not a word for every single thing that we say, and that's okay. And if it takes you longer to find things, that's okay too. We kind of rehearse this script so we kind of know where the words are, but it's a little clunkier in real life, and that's okay. All right, so I'm going to say, Layla, what do you want to do today?
I want to go to the beach.
Oh, that sounds good. Let's see. I want to have a picnic at the beach. What do you think about that?
Yes.
Awesome. So I need you to go and put on your shoes, and then we can go.
So, thank you for watching this video. Bye.
Bye.
Next, we're going to take some time to explore the Open Access website. A lot of the information and resources we talked about today can be found here, and we are always updating and adding to this site. There are areas for Universal Design for Learning, Assistive Technology, and AAC, covering the 3 different open access projects. There are some areas that are specifically restricted to those teams participating directly in our projects, but the majority of what is here is available for you to explore and utilize in your practice. On the landing page for Open Access under AAC, there are many resources that are available to anyone who navigates to the site, and I'm going to show you a few of those now. All right, this is the Open Access website, and you will see across the top, we have our headings for the website. Here you can find some information about our team, the different capacity building projects. This is where you will see all of the different regions that Open Access is covering and which of our grants programs are in each region. Professional learning, this is the area that is restricted to those regions that are actually going through one of our capacity building projects. But as you move across, we have 3 different areas. We have UDL, we have AT, and we have AAC. Under each of these headings, there will be information that is accessible to anyone. So if you're an educator and you're interested in UDL as well as AAC, please come in and check out what's on this ADL, or excuse me, what's on this UDL section. There's a resource flip kit in each one of these sections, and I'm just going to really quickly show you what that's going to look like. It's going to give you a landing page where you can get into the flip kit, and you'll be able to find, if you're a UDL person, I'm sure this will stand out to you: engagement, representation, action, and expression. And then you can go into one of those, and there will be tons of resources for you to access. So definitely a place to check out. Under assistive technology, same thing. I'm just going to really quickly show you the resource flip kit. These areas are all areas of assistive technology that you might be wanting to support one of your students with. Again, if you're looking, for example, for math, and you go into the math section, it gives you some leading questions, maybe some no text solutions. When you click on that, again, they're going to give you a whole bunch of different supports and things that you can explore. So check that out. So then under AAC, we have a section that what is AAC, and we just have a few definitions. We do go over the building tiered supports model, so you can see what is what the foundations and implementation and specialization tiers look like, what the outcomes are, and who the intended participants are. Under our AAC resources, this is where you're going to find some of the things that Cassandra and I showed you today. So if you're looking for core word boards, if you go under Get Resources, we have PDFs of core 20, 40, and 60 that you can download. We also have an activity called What Can You Say with 20 Words, which is a great activity to do with classroom staff to really show them, wow, there's a lot you can say just using 20 words. So if that's something that you might want to use with your teams to build that shared knowledge, that's a great activity you can download and use with the 20-word core board. Under AAC collaborative supports, these are some teaming supports that our SLPs typically utilize with students who have devices. We have what's called an AAC snapshot and an AAC roles and responsibilities. So if you have a student that's on your caseload and that does have some type of AAC device or system, you might want to share these with your SLP, and those might help your team all get on that same page, and therefore, again, helping empower our AAC users. We do have a communication access plan. This is just an example of another teaming tool that we have. We don't have this available to download and use, as this is a specific part of our trainings, but we did want to just show people a little bit about what we do in a communication access plan meeting. This next section on visual supports is under construction, so I am not going to open it up because you're not going to find very much in there right now, but check back later. And then this last section for implementation resources. This is another great place to grab some tools to use. Here's that script builder. So when we were going over the strategy of social scripts, this is a great tool that you can use with a team to develop some social scripts for students that you might be able to use. We have a vocabulary planning template that you can go ahead and take a look at. We have listed here some of those prompt hierarchies, and it's great to work together as a team to look at these and maybe choose one that you as a team want to use, so that way you're all on the same page and you all are doing the same hierarchy of prompting. So that's there for you to look at. We have that graphic for the so many reasons to communicate, again, that you can download. And then we have a few other strategy tools that you could download. One is about modeling. This big AAC picture flip book, if you were to open that up, you could download it. and put it together, and it goes over all of those strategies that we talked about, as well as multimodal communication. And then this is just a little PDF of some of our tools that we choose to use with our students that have complex communication needs. And then the last thing is we have our AAC resource flip kit, and I will go into that. Our flip kit is designed based on a framework that we've borrowed from Marilyn Buzelich, and it is about communicator profiles. And there are 4 different profiles that we talk about when we have complex communicators: emergent, entry, intermediate, and advanced. On this flip kit, you get a definition of what a student who is demonstrating one of those communicator profiles might look like. And then if you click on that, it will take you into some resources and tools that you possibly might want to explore if you have a student that is at that communicator profile level. But I would encourage you to work with your speech and language pathologist when you are looking at your communicators and tools. So our blog, we're still working on that, so I'm not even going to click on it. But that is just a quick overview of our website, and we will give you the address for that. And we really hope that you will go in and you will explore it and you will share it with your colleagues, because there is a lot more here than just for AAC. So hopefully it is a site that you can go back to and find some really good resources for your practice. One more thing I just wanted to add was there is also an accessible distance learning portion of this that we developed when everybody went off into distance learning. So this is another area that's different, but it has a lot of different ideas and best practices that you can also navigate to and explore and share with your colleagues as well.
So thank you all for coming to our presentation. You see here our resources. This is also a PDF that is on our course on the conference website. It has our contact information, as well as some links to some of the videos and other resources that we discussed during our presentation. We hope you learned a little something today, and you were excited to partner with the Inclusion Collaborative to present this really important information.
Thank you.